cool to see Abby sing that last song? Abby is an original Bay Shore kid. She's 11 years old, 11 or 12, I don't know which. She's my daughter's age, but man, she crushed it. And that song, The Blessing, like it makes me cry anyway. Then you get Abby singing. I'm like, daggone it, Nate, why'd you do this to me? It's amazing. How many had to walk a little ways to get into church today? Anybody had to walk a ways and park a far away? Man, I'm sorry, but also, how cool is that? You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's the coolest thing ever. And we went a little long in the last service, and so that's why you had to park so far. But also, just a lot of people are coming, and it just psychs me up. Anyway, so for Family Fun Weekend, you guys know this. If you're part of a church, I like to ask questions, and especially on Family Fun Weekend, we can have a little fun. Can we have a little fun today? Okay, so just raise your hand if you like vacation. Just put your hand up if you wouldn't mind being on vacation. Yes, I am with you. Some of you, you're like, I want to be on some beach somewhere with a good you-know-what in my hands. A library book, people. We're in church. I love vacation. Every single September, my whole family, we go down to the Outer Banks and we play games. We swim in the pool with a good library book in our hands. We read around the pool. We may or may not have taught my pastor dad how to play Texas Hold'em this last trip. Now, I know some of you are like, did you teach your, like, Pastor Joel, you cannot teach your dad how to play poker. Listen, what happens in Rodanthe stays in Rodanthe, including my $10 that I lost in poker. Anyway, so we have a great time there, and I want to tell you a quick story. On the last day of vacation, I was downstairs taking the trash out. Now, on our vacations, we have a tradition that normally we drop our trash from the 4th-story balcony into the trash down below. And so here's a video example that... Oh! That's my sister-in-law, Jess, right here. Crushing it. We call her Steph Curry now. But does anybody else drop your trash off the 4th-story balcony? Because if you don't, you should start, okay? And if you miss, okay, you do. Oh, yeah, it's fun. Until it goes all over the yard. But on the last day of vacation, I was taking trash out the traditional way, you know, just like going to go throw it in the trash downstairs. And that doesn't sound exciting, but it got very exciting, people. Because as I'm opening up the trash can lid to throw the trash in, my brother right here, all of a sudden, I didn't know he was around. He just like poof, appears like 10 feet away. And he's like, eyes as big as saucers. And he's like, Joel, back away from the trash can. Now, Tim drinks a lot of 5-hour energy drinks. So I thought he had just OD'd on 5-hour energy that morning. And so I'm like, are you okay, Tim? And he's like, I'm not okay. He's like, I think there's an animal stuck in the trash can. And as he's saying this, I'm telling you, I hear, it's a lot scarier than that, but like, you know, and so like there was something going on in the trash can, and there was a hole in the lid of the trash can. And he said, I think like a skunk or something fell in the trash can overnight. And so I in that moment, I like to rise to the occasion. I was like, I'll take care of you. I'm a pastor. Okay, so I found this board in the garage down below. And so I put this board on top of the hole that was on top of the trash can. And then me and Tim, we started like pulling this trash can out into the yard because we're going to release Pepe Le Pew, you know, into the yard. And as we're dragging this trash can, it sounded like there was a pack of wild wolves in the trash can. And there was a crack on the back of this trash can. I am not kidding. A paw with giant claws reaches out. I'm like, is there a velociraptor in it? Like, what is in this trash can? I'm freaking out. And, well, we have a video of what happens next. You want to see what happened next? Okay, here's what happened next. Listen, you can't make this stuff up. 4, right? We didn't know what was in there. 4 raccoons came out. My dad thinks this is so funny. This is not a lie. He sent this into America's Funniest Home Videos. We've been signing liability waivers ever since. That is true. And so I'm like, Dad thinks it's funny. I'm like, Dad, we almost died. It is not funny. But this week I was watching this video and something stuck out to me in this moment. And we'll put this picture on the screen. Do you see where I am and you see where my brother is? I looked at this afterwards. I'm like, I'm the worst brother in the world. Like, how do I even call myself part of this family? I'm like leaving my brother, and like as I look at this picture, this is what goes through my head. I am the world's most okay brother. Like, I am the world's most okay family member, and because listen, I'm not killing it. I almost got my brother killed by North Carolina raccoons. You know what I mean? And so I'm curious. Anybody else in the room, or maybe you're watching online right now? You ever feel like you're just the world's most average, most okay family member? Just raise your hand if you. Yes. Listen, I will bet you lunch that you have thought, I am just the most average sibling. Like, I could definitely do better. Maybe I should call or text my brother or sister since I haven't talked to him, since the 1900s. Or maybe you're a parent. You're like, I could definitely be a better parent. Like, maybe I could put down my phone a little bit and pick up the football and throw it with my kid. Maybe you are thinking about your parents, and you're like, I don't even know if my parents know that I'm even alive anymore. I haven't talked to them since I borrowed money for rabies shots because of the raccoon attack. Or maybe you think, hey, I could definitely be a better grandparent. Where are the grandparents at in the room? Okay, listen, you can't be better. Grandparents are perfect. Isn't that true? You guys are amazing. My only gripe with grandparents is these weird names you all have started giving yourselves. Like Meemaw and Peepaw. I am never calling a man Peepaw, ever. It's never going to happen. But if you've ever felt like, hey, I'm just the world's most okayest family member, I feel very average, I could definitely do better, just shout raccoon. Just shout raccoon. Okay. So here's my goal today. For Family Fun Weekend, I just want to give you 3 simple ideas for how you can be a better than okay family member so that one day you can have a better than okay family. And to do that, we're going to be in the book of Exodus. Now, if you don't have a Bible, we give out Bibles every single Sunday at Bay Shore. And so they're free, they're out in the lobby, they're all stacked out there. If you want a Bible, you don't have a Bible, you lost your Bible, just grab one of those on your way out so you have one. But here's a setup to what we're going to talk about today. There was this guy named Joseph. Everybody say Joseph. Okay, and Joseph, speaking of family, he moved his entire family of about 70 people from this place called Canaan to Egypt because there was a famine in the land, and Joseph was second in command in Egypt. And when Joseph's family of 70 people get to Egypt, they are like a bunch of, I would say bunnies, but let's say raccoons, because they multiply. And in a 400-year period, this family of 70 people turns into about 1 million people in Egypt. Come on. Tons of people. And so now, after 400 years, Joseph is passed on, and there's a new Pharaoh in town. And the new Pharaoh in town had put all of this family into slave labor because they were the out-of-towners. And he was still feeling overwhelmed by all these people from Joseph's family line. And so he came up with this idea so that the Egyptians weren't taken over by these Hebrew people. And so Exodus chapter 1, verse 22, this is Pharaoh's idea. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Though every newborn Hebrew boy, in other words, Joseph's family, descendants, into the Nile River, but you may, let's read this together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let the girls live. Oh, Pharaoh just messed up now because listen, he let these girls live, and there is nothing scarier than a group of ladies. You know what I mean? Listen, men, a group of us, we're not scary, all right? We can't even barely take out some raccoons, all right? But a group of ladies, and these ladies, they are going to ruin Pharaoh's plan to take out this entire family because they are going to end up saving a baby named Moses who changes everything for this family line. And so I kind of was thinking about this story this week, and I was thinking that these ladies, or if maybe you're reading this, you're a lady, you're thinking, man, Pharaoh just overlooked the ladies. And I'm just curious, when it comes to families, have you ever felt like you're putting in all your energy in your family, you're putting in all your effort, you're giving it your best shot, but you feel like no one sees you? Or you feel like it's not even working at all? Come on, I know it's Family Fun Weekend, but how many of you have ever felt like you're putting in all your effort and then all that effort is not making any difference? If you've ever thought this, just say therapy. Just shout therapy. Just feel therapy. Listen, I feel like sometimes we're working so hard in our families, okay? Parents, okay? If you got young kids in the room, we feel like sometimes we're giving it 110% effort. Am I right, parents? And if you're a single parent, you're not giving it 110% effort. You're giving it 2,000% effort. And I feel like we should just put our hands together for the single parents in the room right now. I'm telling you, heroes walk among us. They are our single parents. But maybe when it comes to your aging parents, you're giving it your best shot. Like you're raising your own kids. You're in the middle of your career, and your aging parents, okay, you're fixing their internet 700 times a day. Or maybe you have an extended family member who, just is driving you crazy, but you're biting your lips so hard and you feel like you're putting in all this effort. You're trying the best that you can to be the best family member, but it doesn't feel like anybody sees it, or you feel like it's not making any difference. And I just want to tell you two things real quick. Number one, God sees you. God is not overlooking you. And I know it's kind of like, okay, well, does that matter? Yes, that matters. God sees you. He sees all the effort that you're putting in. The second thing I want you to know is just because you don't see any results in your family today doesn't mean that you won't see results in your family one day. And so just put in the effort. And that happens in this Exodus story with these ladies. They don't see the results of their effort for decades. And just think about whoever raised you. Maybe it was your parents. Maybe it was your meemaw and peepaw. Maybe it was your aunt, uncle, whoever it was that raised you. Did it take years, maybe even decades, for all their effort to show up in your life? Isn't that true? Yes. Some of you, you're in your 60s right now, and you're like, when's this effort supposed to show up? But it shows up eventually. And so, listen, I just want to tell you, embrace the messy in your family, embrace the struggles in your family, embrace the scary surprise raccoons that jump up in your family, because a better than okay family is a challenge to get there, but it's a challenge worth fighting for. And so if you're taking notes, just three quick ideas. The first one is this: fear God if you want a better than okay family. Fear God if you want a better than okay family. Now, where are the dads at in the rooms? Come on, dads. I know you don't like to raise your hands, but I'm going to make you today. Okay. Looking good, dads. Not a dad bod in the room. Biceps, dads, is what we're talking. Okay, dads, just follow-up question. Raise your hand if you've ever dad failed. You have ever dad failed big time? I think there's more hands than the last round, which I don't know how it's possible. So my dad failed hard the other day. So you should just know this. My daughter's biggest fear, since we're talking about fear, her biggest fear is eating like bad food that's gone bad. Anybody else have this fear? Okay, yep, there's a few of you. You would not last in our house. We think people who look at the expiration code, we think they're weak in our house. If there's a little mold on the corner of the bread, you know what we do? We tear that corner off. We put it in the toaster. We rub some dirt on it, eat it. But not Nora. Nora does not play with expired food. And so the other day, she was trying to make mac and cheese, her very favorite thing. And she opens up the milk to make the mac and cheese, and she's like, oh, Dad, this milk is bad. I'm like, the milk is not bad. It's fine. And she's like, no, it's bad. I'm like, no. She's like, it smells. I'm like, you smell. Use the milk. And she's like, well, look at is it expired? And so like, I'm always her expiration, code looker. So I look, and it wasn't expired for 2 more days, which in our house, you can milk that milk for another 17 days. Like, it is fine. I'm like, Nora, it's not even expired. Use the milk. And she's like, I can't use it. I'm like, you're going to use the milk. And she's like, I can't use the milk, Dad. I'm like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to smell the milk that's not expired, and then you're going to use the milk. And so I took the little cap off the milk. I smelled the not expired milk. And good news, my gag reflex is in tippy-toppy shape. It smelled so bad. It wasn't even expired. I don't even know how this happened. So, true story, I go to pour it out. A little delay. And then it was like plop, plop, plop. I'm like, Nora, don't use the milk. Don't ever use the milk. I'm a terrible father. But now, me and Nora, our fear is expired food, unexpired food, any kind of food. It's a great diet plan, okay? So if you want to, work on your diet, just drink some expired or non-expired milk. Anyway, and that is a ridiculous fear, to be afraid of expired food. But what's not a ridiculous fear is what's happening in the story of Exodus, okay? Because here's what's going on, okay? New Pharaoh, he's like, here's my order. All right, every newborn baby boy that's part of Joseph's family line, like, Now that's a scary. Well, that's scary, right? but not for these overlooked ladies. Come on, ladies. Because here's what happens, and this is in verses 15 and 7 through 17. It says this, then Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, gave this order to the Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, which I'm just intimidated by those names. You know what I mean? If you're looking for a baby name, I wouldn't go with this, all right? But anyway, so he gave this order to Shiphrah and Puah, Hebrew midwives, when you help the Hebrew women as they give birth, watch as they deliver. If the baby is a boy, kill him. If it is a girl, let her live. But because the midwives feared Pharaoh, feared God, they refused to obey the king's orders. They allowed the boys to live too. Can we give it up for Salt and Pepper, Shiphrah and Puah? Listen, Shiphrah and Puah were like, we got this. We got a plan. And here's what I was thinking about this week. I was thinking about this phrase, fear God. Everybody say fear God. Fear God. Has that phrase ever confused you? It's kind of confusing, right? And so I just want to oversimplify this, but just a quick clarification. Fearing God is less about being afraid of God and more about being in awe of God. Yes. Fearing God is less about you being afraid of him and you being more in awe of him, because God is so powerful. I mean, with so many O's, so powerful. We should respect him and we should revere him. And so when you think of God, think more of someone who's holy than somebody who's your homeboy. And so in this story, Salt and Pepper, Shiphrah and Puah, S&P, whatever you want to call them, okay, they fear God more than they feared Pharaoh. They were more in awe of God than they were in awe of Pharaoh. And so they chose faith over fear. And that's what changed the dynamic in the future of the Hebrew family. And so when we think about our families, choosing to raise our families and believe faith over fear in our families, ridiculously hard. Especially if you're a parent of a young kid. Let me give you an example. My kids are young-ish, but my daughter, Nora, she had her first middle school dance the other day. I'm okay. I'm not okay. Okay. So she had her first middle school dance. I am not okay at all. So when she got home, I'm trying to grill her, trying to figure out what was going on. And all she told me is that she bought a Sprite for about a $5 can of Sprite. Okay. The funny thing is that all the parents of the middle school kids had to supply a 12-pack of Sprite for the dance that they resold our kids back for $5. It's a great thing for them. Anyway, I'm okay. It's fine. So Nora bought a Sprite. That's all she told me. But what she told Stacy, my wife, Babylicious, that's what I call her, Babylicious. Nora told Stacy that at the dance, they played Kendrick Lamar music. I'm okay. I'm not okay. Because I was thinking, who thought it was a great idea at a middle school dance to play explicit content music? I thought, is that is that a great, okay, it's just me, okay, I can just tell. Anyway, but I'm thinking, I just all of a sudden went into dad protection mode. And I was like, okay, first she goes to a dance, middle school dance. Next thing you know, she's drinking soda pop. Then, she's listening to explicit content music. She's probably going to be cussing like a sailor. Next thing you know, she's probably going to be in juvie. This is not good. And Stacy was like, honey, going from middle school dance to juvie, that's a pretty big leap. I'm just processing. And so if I'm not careful, I'll find myself parenting my kids out of fear and not out of faith. Now, I'm not saying that on the way home from church today, I'll be like, hey kids, what explicit content you want to listen to in the RAV4? And go home bumping beep, 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 beep. I'm not doing that. I'm not that parent. But here's what I know that I want to do as a parent. Okay, I know that as my kids get older, they're with me less. And when they're with me less, I just got to trust that the things that I've shared with them, the message of Jesus that I've tried to share with them, the principles of Jesus, that's going to show up in their life. And they're going to, live some of those things out. And when they don't, which they won't always, I need to be there to pick them up and show them grace. And so maybe this part of the service is just for me, but as a dad, I need to start moving from parenting out of fear into parenting out of faith. Or maybe for you have a family member who hurt you decades ago, and they hurt your feelings or whatever, and maybe today's the day you start giving them a second chance. and choosing to forgive and choose faith over fear in that relationship. Or maybe you have aging parents, and today's the day you start choosing to make decisions for your aging parents out of faith and not fear. And by the way, my parents listened to this message. That was not about you, okay? You guys are young and spry and amazing, okay? But this is so hard. But I 100% believe that when we choose to enter our families and look at it with our families with faith over fear, I believe what that means is we still got to do everything we know to do in our families. We got to parent, we got to do, forgive people in our family. We got to show grace. We got to do all the things. But we're trusting that God will do what only he can do in our families. And so what we're doing is we're choosing the fear of God over the fear of any pharaohs in our life. And so this is a cheesy line, but just cheesy line alert. Pastors have cheesy lines. Isn't that how it works? But if you want to bring the awesome back in your family, bring the awe of God back in your life. If you want to bring the awesome back into your family, bring the awe of God back into your life, and just be patient and watch what he does in your family eventually. So that's the fear God part. Okay, the second part is this. It's very similar, but it's trust God if you want a better than okay family. So let's jump into Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. It says, about this time, a man from the tribe of Levi got married. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to... Just look at the person next to you. You got a little quiet on me and just say, oh, this is not good. This is not good at all. This is not good. Come on. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. And you're the 945. So are you the smartest service? Is this the smartest service? Well, let's see. Okay, let's see. This story happened a little over 3,000 years ago. Around 3,000 years ago, was there a sonogram to figure out if you're going to have a little baby boy or baby girl? Yes or no? You are the smartest service. No, okay. Do you know what this means? It means there were no gender reveal parties 3,000 years ago. Come on, somebody. There wasn't a crop duster flying over your neighborhood like shooting, pink glitter all over the place, which I think we could get to a place where we didn't do that anymore. But anyway, think about this mom. For 9 months, she's carrying this baby, and she's like, okay, God, it's not going to be a boy. It can't be a boy. It's got to be a girl. It's going to be a girl. Come on, it's going to be a girl. I'm choosing faith. I got this pink onesie out of faith. I got the girl's dad, a girl dad hat. It's got to be a girl. And then the baby's born, and she looks, and she's like, a boy? God, what are you doing? What are you even doing? Question, have you ever thought that God kind of sort of messed up in your family? Have you ever looked at other families that look like they got it all together? Their kids are normal. Their family, they go on vacation together. They film funny raccoon videos together as a family. And you're thinking, if my family went on vacation, we'd throw Uncle Tom in the trash with the crazy raccoons, okay? That's... And nobody has to raise your hand, but just give me a little wink if you've ever thought God maybe sort of kind of drafted the wrong person or people in your family. Come on, just give me a wink. You all are winking at me, okay? So, listen, I remember it was Mother's Day of all days, and years ago, and a buddy of mine called me, and how you can just tell when somebody's scared or you can hear it in their voice, And so he had this, fear in his voice, and the first thing he said is, Joel, just tell me it's all going to be okay. Now, I didn't even know what we were talking about. I'm like, okay, hey man, it's all going to be okay. He's like, I haven't even told you what's going on yet. I'm like, oh, okay. And so he said, my wife just told me that we're pregnant and we're having a surprise baby. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. He's like, you're supposed to say it's going to be okay. I was like, oh, it's going to be okay. He's like, how do you know? I'm like, oh, this is not going how I thought. And so he's freaking out. And finally, this is a true story. I was like, well, what did your wife, what is she saying? Is she helping you process this? And he's like, I don't know. As soon as she told me, I just walked out of the house and called you. I'm like, on Mother's Day? It is not okay. You are not okay. But they ended up having this baby they weren't expecting, and fast forward, this baby is now, a grown kid and amazing. And such a great part of this family. Changed the entire dynamic of this family in the best way possible. And so if you were to ask my buddy today, hey, how do you process that now? He would be like, oh my goodness, God had this thing all sorted out. Man, I couldn't imagine my family any other way. And sometimes I think we feel like, man, our family is not okay. I don't really know what's going on right now. And I just want you to know that you can trust that God's got whatever's going on in your family. He's got it all under control. God perfectly put your imperfect family together on purpose. And this isn't a surprise to some of you, but all the different dynamics in your family, all the different issues in your family, all the different personalities in your family, all the different Cowboys fans in your family. It is not an accident. God did that on purpose, okay? And God can still do something special through a crazy family. Can I get an amen on that? He can do something crazy or special through a crazy family. But in this story, okay, think about this woman, who has this baby, and she easily could have thought, like, God overlooked me. I don't know how this family is ever going to be okay, but she has a whole different perspective. In verses 2 through 3, she saw that he was a special baby. And this part, I don't know how this works. She kept him hidden for 3 months. How? I don't know how that works, okay? If you've ever had a 0 to 3 month old, I don't know how you hide the baby. But anyway, she hid the baby. It was a quiet baby. But when she could no longer hide him, she got a basket made of papyrus reeds and waterproofed it with tar and pitch. Come on, MacGyver mom. She put the baby in the basket, laid it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. Now, if you haven't caught on, this baby is, who knows who this baby is? Moses. This is Moses, smartest service of them all, 9:45, okay? Now at this point, Moses' mom, in the story, her name's Wknd. Wknd doesn't know that Moses will grow up to be a prince in Egypt. She doesn't know that Moses will help lead the Israelites out of slavery. She doesn't know that Moses will help lead the Israelites into the promised land. She doesn't know that God will hand deliver the 10 Commandments to Moses for Moses to hand deliver it to the people, okay? She doesn't know any of that. All she knew is, hey, I'm in awe of God even if I'm not in awe of my situation. All she knew is, hey, I'm going to trust God even if I don't trust Pharaoh. And all she knew is, my family may not be okay today, but it's going to be better than okay one day. And so, what do me and you do with that? Well, I think there's a catchy phrase out there that will help us remember. WWJD. What would Wknd do? No one will ever remember that, right? It took me all week to pronounce Wknd. It starts with a J. Some of you are like, is that a hard J? How does that work? Anyway, but in our families, okay, I think we learn from Wknd, trust God. Trust God with your kids. Trust God with your aging parents. Trust God with your siblings. Trust God with, your extended family members. Trust God with surprise babies. Trust God with infertility issues. Trust God with your dreams and your disappointments. Why? Because just imagine Moses' mom never trusted God and she never released him down the river. This group of people wouldn't have been, the slaves wouldn't have been released into freedom. They wouldn't have gotten to the promised land. They wouldn't have got the 10 Commandments. And we wouldn't have Charlton Heston. And so it came with her trusting God and releasing her family member. And I don't know what it is in your family, but what in your family do you need to trust God with right now and release to God? What in your family you need to trust God with and release to God? And then the last idea is this, and this is so fun. Know that God chose you for his family if you want to have a better than okay family. So here's what happens next. Wknd, she made this MacGyver basket. It's a Longenberger basket, but it's like tar lined, She floats her child down the river, which, by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing that. Don't float your child down the river. But she floats baby Moses down the Nile River. And guess who baby Moses in the basket bumps into? Pharaoh's daughter. You guys didn't have the scary look on your face that I had. Okay. This Pharaoh, the guy who's like, we got to, take out the baby boys. Baby Moses bumps into Pharaoh's daughter. This is the daughter of that guy. I need a Xanax. Come on, somebody. But in a twist in the story, all right, Pharaoh's daughter did not want to kill this baby boy. And this is why I think that is. Because I think she must have been a teenager. Because she sees this baby and she's like, my dad wants to kill all these. But I'm going to keep him because I think he's cute. So I'm not listening to dad. Okay, it's got to be a teenager, right? It's got to be a teenager. Anyway, so she's like, I want to keep this baby. And so in a weird twist in the story, She wants to keep the baby. Moses' sister had been following along the Nile River to see where, baby Moses in the basket ends up. And so Pharaoh's daughter sees the sister in the reeds. And so she's like, hey, I'm going to keep this baby. I'm going to keep this baby. But I need somebody to raise this baby because I got to go to high school, okay? And so Moses' sister is like, well, I know somebody can raise the baby. And Pharaoh's daughter was like, I'll pay whoever it is. And so Moses' sister recommends Moses' mom to raise the baby and get paid for it. Moms, how would you have liked a paycheck to raise your kid? You didn't get you got pooed on. You did not get a paycheck. But it's crazy, and don't miss this. Check out what happens. Okay, after Moses' mom gets paid to raise him, and this is verse 10. Later, when the boy was older, his mother brought him back, rocking her Bentley because she got all these paychecks. She's bringing him back with the car seat to Pharaoh's daughter, Pharaoh's daughter adopted him as her own son. And so this is obvious, but Pharaoh's daughter literally picked Moses for the family, right? She picked him. Now, if you're in the room, okay, and you're not adopted, I got bad news. Your parents didn't pick you. Now, they probably would have. Probably. Right? But in this story, Moses was literally picked. How awesome would that have felt for him? He was chosen. Adoption is a beautiful thing. And I just want to end Family Fun Weekend with some positive news. Not only did God perfectly pick you to be in your family, he picked you to be in his family. One of the best verses in the entire Bible. Okay, I say that like kind of every week, but man, every week I find a cool verse. Ephesians 1, 4-5. It says this: even before he made the world, God loved us and chose us in Christ to be holy and without fault in his eyes. God decided in advance to adopt us, just like Moses was adopted, to adopt us into his own family by bringing us to himself through Jesus Christ. This is what he wanted to do. And this is crazy. It gave him great pleasure. Listen, I've been smiling all week thinking about this verse. It makes me think of this. My daughter Nora, she turns 12 on Tuesday. And so we had our birthday party this weekend, and so Friday night, all these girls were in my house, okay? And my house was, as the kids say, it was lit this weekend. And by lit, I mean it was loud, and a bunch of kids just randomly shouting 6, 7, or something. I don't even know what's happening in my house. But my kids are growing up so fast, and I found this picture on my phone this week of my kids when they were littler, and man, I miss these days. I miss the days where my kids didn't know Kendrick Lamar songs. They just wanted to sing Baby Shark. Do, 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 do. But when my kids were this age, we used to have this nighttime routine. And me and Stacy, we would give our kids baths, and then we would get their jams on at night, and then we would brush their teeth, get them in bed. And I remember I had this routine that I said with my kids basically every night when they were little. I would look at each of them and I would say, Nora, if I could pick any little girl in the entire world to be my kid, and I could choose from every little girl in the world, like if I could go into the little girl store and there's like, all the girls on the shelves, and I saw you, I would pick you every single time because you're mine, you're special, and God's going to do something amazing through you. And then I would say to Nixon, I would say, hey, Nixon, if I could pick any little boy in the entire world, and I could choose any of them, and they're all on the shelf, and I walked in, I would pick you every single time because you're mine, you're special, and God's going to do something amazing through you. And I would tell them that, and a lot of times, eventually they got tired of it, That's how kids are, they get tired of it. I'll keep doing it. But so many times they would just smile and they'd be like, you pick me? And I'd be like, every single time I pick you. And then one day my boy Nixon, he was like, well, what if mom has another baby boy? And I was like, well, that's why mom can't have another baby boy. But I've always wanted my kids to know that even though I technically didn't get to pick them, I would pick them 10,000% of the time, every single time. Because I think that changes you. And here's what I want you to know. If you want a better than okay family, you just walk out of here today knowing that God picked you for his family and it gave him great joy. And you might be like, well, how does that make my family better than okay? Well, because when you know that God picked you, I mean, I'm talking you, messy, sinful. Chris is over here rocking an Eagles jersey. Eagles jersey, Chris, you know.
Go Birds.
Don't take over the service, people. Okay. When you know God picked you, and God picked me, and God picked you, and you, and you, that changes you. And I think when we know that God picked us, it gives us more love and gratitude and grace and joy in our families. And a family that's full of love and gratitude and grace and joy, that's a better than okay family. Isn't that true? And so here's all I want you to do this week. This is it. Your homework is this. Just show more love and grace and joy in your family. More patience in your family this week. More love, grace, and patience. Are you willing to do that? Let me see your hands if you're willing to do it. Okay, listen. You just agreed to it. And we're about to feed your kids ice cream. And they may dump it down the vent in your car on the way home, okay, from church. Grace and love and patience. This week when those easy moments, great, easy, love, grace, and patience. And those hard moments, dig deep. Love and grace and patience. And when you fail at that, get back up again and love and grace and patience. Because that's exactly what God showed us when he invited us into his family.